we didn't like the way they were treating people, and it was maybe abusive and so forth. And I was wondering, in those cases, what do they tell their kids at night? When we all go see like movies, Pixar, Disney, and so forth, and they have nice little morals to them and so forth, and there's very clear distinction between the good characters and the bad characters. Well, these people are kind of like the bad characters in the movie. And I was wondering, what do they do as parents?
I'm in the studio today with Dr. Gourdine. He is a former retired military officer. He is a professor and a consultant, I believe?
I do a little consulting, yes.
Consulting, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing some of the insights you have today. I know we got a little bit of a chance to talk behind the scenes, but I know you have some topics that you want to share with the viewers today. So why don't you go ahead and give a little bit of your story, a little bit about who you are to the viewers, and I can kind of probe your brain a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. Yes, I'm a 1991 graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. I have an undergraduate degree in aeronautical engineering, minor in Spanish. I like other languages. Gracias. And I have a master's degree in management with an emphasis in quality, a doctorate degree in management. I studied organizational behavior and organizational learning, and I am a certified Six Sigma black belt.
Wow, you have quite the resume behind you.
Well, yeah, that's education, but then also quite a few decades of experience of international as well as U.S. domestic management experience as well.
Really interesting.
So it's and also what I would say too, a lot of my the experience is not just my own direct learning, but it's also learning from people I work with and observations of leaders at all types of levels and different venues. So there's a lot we learn from others as well, and that's kind of leads me to my first topic, and I want to talk about coherence, coherent life as a manager and supervisor.
Right. Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about that. Again, we got a chance to kind of briefly talk about it a little bit high level, but I mean, this is obviously this is a concept that you put a little bit more thought into.
Yeah.
What are some of the insights you can share about the concept of coherence in leadership?
Right, exactly. Well, what this came from is in my experience in the military. I saw leaders at different types of different levels of quality. As far as some were, excellent leaders, very inspiring. Others somewhere in the middle, and there's some of them that were actually disappointing. And it wasn't just my view; it's view of people around them as well. But I learned a lot from all these examples. And one of the things that really puzzled me is when people do things that you feel proud of, they feel proud of it, and it works really well, it's kind of easy to understand. And okay, there's a coherence I can see probably between what they are probably telling their kids and the lessons we want all of our children to know and to kind of follow in life. But then I would see adults, supervisors in this case, doing things at work that many people had problems with. We didn't like the way they were treating people, and it was maybe abusive and so forth. And I was wondering, in those cases, what do they tell their kids at night? When we all go see like movies, Pixar, Disney, and so forth, and they have nice little morals to them and so forth, and there's very clear distinction between the good characters and the bad characters. Well, these people are kind of like the bad characters in the movie. And I was wondering, what do they do as parents? And so what that led me to kind of reflect on that some more, and I thought, what if we made things very simple, and the same way the same things that we tell our children at night, like in stories, and the way we want our children to grow up, what if we modeled that same behavior ourselves? If we say that these things are important, why don't we behave that way at work, and how we treat other people, and how we approach a task for our employers? So the idea of coherence, living a coherent life. I also say that too because if we think of examples, and I'll say this as an African American, America's history with race. I mean, many of the same towns that have had some very difficult things in their history to consider, they also have a very large religious presence. So there's coherence issues there as well. So I think that it's a not to be obviously inflammatory or anything, but just something to consider, that the things that we say are important, do we actually walk those values at work in this case? I
find that's oftentimes people that don't live that coherent life, they have that dissonance between their values and who they actually, or their actual behavior. I have a question for you though. I mean, do you find that this trend with people who live and lead incoherently kind of have this idea of like compartmentalizing their life in which there's someone else at work and then someone else with their kids and someone else at church, or they have these different identities that they are at all?
I think that's an excellent point. I think that's exactly what people do. They compartmentalize. So, and in fact, and I think that along with those compartmentalizations, there's probably rationalization that occurs. They may tell their kids, well, okay, that's nice in the story, but like real life is complicated. Actually, I could say after being in places as far-flung as Japan and Korea, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, China, and so forth, sub-Saharan African countries as well, life really isn't that complicated. People try to tell you that and they use it as a rationalization, but the principles they still apply. And I think sometimes it comes down to a fundamental issue of character and integrity.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think it is that people make excuses like that life's complicated?
I believe we try to cover, because maybe the truth is very difficult for us to face. I'm just not strong enough. If you're telling your kid this, the real truth, if you were talking in a quiet voice, maybe I'm not that, maybe I believe those things are nice, but I don't have that kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
But really,
unfortunately,
that's really what it is. But what it kind of leads us back to, and this is in a lot of management books and leadership books, it is about character. But I think there's personal work that needs to take place. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason I was excited about working with Craft House Media was some of the same things you guys talk about, I find actually apply in the workplace and the field of management. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today.
100%.
Yeah. And so one of the other things I wanted to touch on in the next segment was the quality of work life, because I think that also is a part of a coherent work life, because the outcome of hopefully personal excellence and effectiveness when put into practice can make a quality and enjoyable work life as much as it can be.
I think it's essential for actually leading effectively and doing a good job in your work, whatever that might be. I'm super excited to hear what you have to say in the next segment, though.
Absolutely.
So thank you again for reaching out to us.
Yeah, thanks for your time too.
Of course, and viewers, I hope you guys tune into the next video. Looking forward to hearing more of Chris's insights. Cheers.